like even myself, like I've dealt with, depression. I've dealt with, suicidal thoughts and actions. It's like people who grow up in those situations, like tough situations or situations where they feel like more lonely, because they don't really have anyone to connect to, or like that either propels or kills. Some people don't make it through it. Like I've watched my dad struggle so fucking much throughout my entire life. My mom, like single mother, 4 kids, and then just even growing up just trying to figure out how to feed myself. Like I'm just like, how the hell did you do it? And now we're like living in a condo in South Shore.
Dope. Another episode of Adversity Kings. We're live. We got to be in the hundreds. The hundreds now of episodes. Special guest today, Khair.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
What's the last name?
Stallings.
Stallings?
Yeah.
Dope. How old are you?
I'm 23.
23?
Yep.
Dope, bro.
Turned 23 in May.
Let's go. Born and raised in the south side of Chicago.
Yes, sir.
Let's go. What part of the south side?
I grew up in Roseland.
Roseland?
Roseland is kind of like in the hundreds, so, it's the hundreds are known for being like the wild hundreds, like that's what they call them.
Yeah.
When I turned 17, me and my dad, we actually moved to South Shore, so I stay at like the end of Lakeshore Drive, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so, what was growing up for you like then?
In Roseland?
Yeah.
Growing up in Roseland, well, first and foremost, when it came to like my parents, they got divorced when I was 3.
Yeah.
So from like 3 until 11, I was living in northern Illinois for a while. So this place, a small town called Zion, Illinois.
Yeah.
When I turned 10, my mom got remarried. So then we had moved to Texas for a little bit. Marriage didn't really work out too well, so we moved back to the north part of Chicago. But we were like a little homeless for a while. So staying with my mom's parents, or my grandparents, for a while, and then I was supposed to move back in with my dad. Well, we were only supposed to be there for like a month, or like a summer, not too long. But then it turned into 12 years. So I've been here ever since.
Okay.
Ever since I was 11.
So who were you closest with growing up?
Like in terms of my parents?
Anybody?
For sure, my mom.
Your mom?
Yeah. I'm my mom's twin. I look just like her. I got 3 other siblings. So for the most part, my brother, me and my brother in the middle. So I have an older sister, older brother. Then it's me. I'm the third.
So are you the middle?
Yeah. So me and my brother are in the middle, and then I have a little sister.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so are you and your brother twins?
No, we're 4 years apart.
Okay, so he's 4 years older.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're actually the middle child.
I'm like the middle.
Okay, that makes sense. And then you have a little sister. So what about your older brother? What does he do?
He currently works at Offshore.
Okay.
So kind of like a rooftop bar at the end of Navy Pier.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then is your dad still in Illinois?
Yeah, so I live with my dad still in South Shore.
Okay, so you live with your dad, but you're closest with your mom still?
Yeah, me and like when I got older, me and my dad started getting a lot closer.
Rekindled and everything like that?
Yeah. I was never really distant from my dad.
Okay.
We were just like, when I was younger, we would always like see him every other weekend. So it wasn't really enough time to
that makes sense.
Nurture my childhood with him. But my teenage years and my adulthood has been with my father. So learning a lot from him on the man side of things.
Now, what did they do for work growing up?
My mom, she's worked in the health industry for most of my life. She's currently doing marketing. My dad, he's been in and out of like insurance, sales jobs.
Insurance also?
Yeah, he does. Right now, I think he's a HR for like some consulting firm or something like that. So for the most part, insurance for him for sure.
Dope.
Yeah.
Dope. Same.
Yeah, I know you do. You do your insurance too.
Yeah.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're growing up and then transitioning into kind of high school. What was your high school and your college life like?
So high school, in terms of like socialness, I didn't really talk to too many people outside of my grade. I had like my very close knit friend group, sat at the table freestyling a lot, making jokes, just having fun like most teenagers. Wasn't like super duper popular, wasn't like super duper lame either. Like I was like in between. I was kind of like more so just trying to, but in high school I wasn't really applying myself too much. Yeah. So when it came to like colleges and actually opening up that opportunity to like get scholarships and things like that, because my grades didn't really reflect my intelligence because I wasn't really taking it seriously.
Yeah.
Didn't really have too many college options. So instead of like taking out loans to go to college when it was something I didn't even know if I wanted to do, I just decided to just start working after that. But in high school, I didn't really especially with Chicago public schools. Like I never really agreed with the things that they choose to teach, if that makes sense. Like it is very specific to like STEM programs, or like if someone wants to go into like a science industry or like, you know, engineering or mathematics or anything like that. It doesn't really it's not really tailored to the students.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So a lot of people flunk out.
What was your favorite memory growing up?
My favorite memory?
Yeah.
There's a lot.
If you were to put like one or two, what was the favorite thing that's
like from
happened?
like early childhood?
No, just let's just say your whole life.
My whole life.
Yeah. What's your favorite memory so far? What are you most proud of?
My favorite memory, I wouldn't even say most proud of because it definitely took a turn. But my favorite memory was probably my my 21st birthday.
Yeah.
I've been trying to like get more out of the house, trying to do like more things outside. So me and some coworkers, we took like this reggaeton river cruise. It was pretty fun. For the most part, that's like probably as basic as it gets. But
yeah.
Also Miami. So as you said, like me, I do like canvassing. Like I work with nonprofits and things like that. So they actually have travel opportunities. So they actually sent me to Miami and also New Orleans. Yeah. Which was, you know, pretty astonishing for me because I never really got the chance to like travel outside of Chicago. Yep. You know, something that happens a lot in Chicago is that like it is a very beautiful city. You know, it's actually like rated second most beautiful city in the world, but a lot of people get trapped there. Yeah. You know, because it is very, you know, centric. I suppose. So what went down in Miami that you love Miami so much? Just Miami. Yeah. Like if you ever been to Miami, like just the culture, there was a huge language barrier for me as well. Yeah. So it made me excited to like, it was just a challenge, you know, talking to people because like most of the population there is, you know, Latin. So, you know, there's a lot of Spanish speaking people I couldn't really communicate with. So also just like the air, like I don't necessarily like too hot temperatures, but the humidity there kind of makes it feel like welcoming, I suppose. Yeah. Also, there's just like iguanas running around, you know, wildlife, snakes. All over the place. I'm big into nature, so I like that type of stuff. So, what got you big into nature? Childhood, really. Yeah. My mom had a very big influence in that, especially growing up in northern Illinois. You know, there's tons of like nature preserves, things like that. We would always go fishing. Yeah. You know, me and my siblings would always go like hunting for like snakes. Well, not hunting, but like go to catch snakes, you know, turtles, snapping turtles, you know, frogs. Like that was a real big part of it. Actually, I'll change my favorite memory. That was probably my favorite memory for sure. Like just spending time with my siblings and because we don't really do that too much anymore. Yeah. So just having a home was probably like the most, you know, like the most memorable thing for me, especially growing up. Yeah, I feel like a lot of kids don't do that anymore. Get out of the house. No, they really don't. You know, it's like video games, computers, Instagram. You know, kids don't really have a appreciation for, you know, going outside and like at all eating dirt. Yeah, I'm kidding. No. Yeah, no, but in all seriousness as well. You know what I mean? Like whatever. You know what I mean? Just I remember like it was like a rule of like you're not allowed in the house. Yeah. You know what I mean? If the sun's out, you're not allowed in the house. Exactly. Like, why are you in here? Like, go outside. Exactly. If you're in here, do your chores. Right? So what was the hardest adversity you've had to overcome so far in your life? For the most part, I kind of touched on this like when we were speaking outside under the Chicago sign. For the most part, just trying to be yourself in an environment where being so similar to others is more welcomed, I suppose. Yeah. Like, you know, when you grow up on the south side of Chicago, you know, you have like drill rap, you have, you know, there's a lot of gang activity that happens on the south side, right? Me personally, that doesn't interest me. Yeah. So there was a lot of people I was growing up with who were in that, you know, type of, you know, they were going down that path. And, you know, if I speak out against it, you know, I'm lame. Or if I don't want to do a certain activity, I'm, you know, this or I'm that. And for the most part, just trying to, you know, be myself. You know, I'm an artistic individual. You know, there's times where, you know, people would just like doubt my blackness or doubt the fact that I am colored. You know, people call me like white boy all the time, or just I didn't really feel welcomed by my community, which hurt for the most part. But then it also triggered something in me of like I don't really give a fuck anymore. Yeah. Can I curse on here? Yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, I don't really give a fuck anymore. Yeah. And that I would say that is probably like the hardest hurdle to get around, especially when you grow up like that and then transitioning into adulthood and you're doing your own things. Like you kind of pick up some of those traits that you had when you were a child and bring them into your adulthood, which is detrimental, especially when in terms of like doing business, communication, just, building relationships, just anything is stunted by, ego or pride or like, wanting to do something because it's like reading. Like, people call you lame for reading or like people call you, it was just, I suppose, trying to stand out in a crowd that was very similar to each other.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Without being killed.
Yeah. And I can relate to that. You know what I mean? I can relate to that a lot, except I moved from Arkansas to Pittsburgh. We're a predominantly white area, so I was still, even being as light-skinned as I am,
right.
I was like the dark kid there, you know what I mean? So
right.
dealing with racism and different things like that. But
no,
for
sure.
me, I never really been triggered by racism. I more or less just utilized it as an opportunity to exploit my anger because I was always an angry kid.
Yeah, no, same.
So I would just be like, you know what I mean? Somebody would drop the N-word and I would be like, all right, I'm going to just beat your ass. Not because I care about the N-word, because I could care less. You know,
right.
like a word is not going to define me. And I knew that at a very young age. I was like, I don't give a fuck about that word. You know what I mean? I was like, honestly, you just activated my black card. You know what I mean? I barely got one, but I got one.
No,
you know what I mean?
I have the right to whip your ass.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember actually my 8th grade year, my principal telling me I use it too much. And it was right at that point that I got like a parole officer, and I was like, it was like my first expulsion. It was either I have a parole officer or I get expelled. So I did not accept having a parole officer, so I had basically got expelled my 8th grade year and my sophomore year. So and it was all fighting, and I referred it all back to racism and different things like that. I grew up in a small like a almost like kind of like probably a step above of like the 8 Mile, you know what I mean, like a white trash neighborhood, like just a step above like that white trash neighborhood type of deal. And it was just, it is what it is, you know what I mean? It kind of makes you who you are. So
no, for sure.
I think I'm more grateful that I went through it than the opportunity being placed elsewhere of like, maybe if I grew up in a sophisticated area, well diverse, whatever, and I have no idea. My kids will have access to that, you know what I mean? So
exactly.
I'm worried, because I'm like, I don't know if I've met one, like I've met a handful of people that grew up in like just like a gifted situation, in a situation where it's like they never have to worry about anything, very diverse background where they just love all types of people and different things like that, but meeting somebody that has like everything handed to them or have access to everything growing up, 9 times out of 10, usually they're like ungrateful or incompetent, they're a baby, you know what I mean? Because everything's been done for them their whole life.
Honestly.
And, my best friend, not the case, you know what I mean? And he was telling me, I was like, because he was admiring, my work in the insurance industry. He was like, his dad's a millionaire. And he came and does insurance with us. Right. And so never doesn't have to do that. Didn't have to do that. His dad take care of him, whatever. And he said, my dad told me, there's 2 ways people get rich. He said there's desperation and inspiration. And he said I fall in the category of inspiration because I'm inspired by my dad. Mm-hmm. But the category you would fall in is desperation because, essentially from the situation you grew up in, you're desperate to get out of it. Right. So I really like that.
I never heard that before.
Yeah, I held on to that. I was like, because it almost would be assuming like every police officer is a bad police officer, or assuming every black dude's a gangster. Right. You know what I mean? So it's like making an assumption, or it's like whatever, sexualizing things, being racist, whatever it might be, just being stereotypical. It's like every rich kid isn't an asshole. Right. You know what I mean? Some of them are well-rounded. They have a hunger, and they're going to carry on that legacy of wealth that the forefathers and foremothers created for them.
No, absolutely.
So it's dope.
I definitely see that in like I was just like, as you were saying that, like I was like, people who grow up in those situations, like tough situations or situations where they feel like more lonely, because they don't really have anyone to connect to, or like that either propels or kills. Yeah. Some people don't make it through it, which is why even myself, like I've dealt with, depression, I've dealt with, suicidal thoughts and actions, it's like, but the way I saw it was, because I grew up with like my grandmother's passed away before I was even like conscious. You know, my other grandfather, I wasn't really too close to him. My dad's dad, I wasn't too close to him. I'm currently like still trying to rekindle those relationships now, but it's hard to, you know, and not having those like pillars, like he had his dad who's like really successful. Like I've watched my dad struggle so fucking much throughout my entire life, and now we're like living in a condo in South Shore, like above, even though we're still in like technically a bad neighborhood, like we have like a great view. Like I watched him work his ass off, and like my mom, like single mother, 4 kids, and then just even growing up, just trying to figure out how to feed myself. Like I'm just like, how the hell did you do it, you know? And they were desperate, you know, and they were inspiring at the same time. So it's like when you grow up in those type of situations, it builds character to the point where when you get out of that situation and you are in an environment where there are people who are, you know, inspired, or there are people who are like naturally, well, not naturally, but they already have a leg up, you know, we tend to emerge through those situations the best. You know, because we've already seen the worst. You know, there was this one thing. Actually, it was a comedian. Like I like watching stand up a lot.
Yeah, same.
And I forgot who it was though, but he was saying every poor man knows what he would do when he's rich. Like no rich man wants to switch places with a poor man. You know, a rich man isn't fantasizing about what it's like to be poor. You know, he's like, oh, I can't wait to, you know, have the water turn off in the middle of the winter, you know, because busted pipes. I can't wait for that. Like no one's thinking that shit. But every poor man, they know exactly how their rich life will go. Like I'm gonna buy this, I'm gonna get that, I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna get that, and that I feel like that drives people.
Yeah.
Or people make excuses as to why they can't get it. But you know, we all have opportunities, even though they're not equal all the time. We all have opportunities, you know. Yeah. And it's just up to like will and determination to like find those.
1,000%.
That's kind of like how I got into like music and things like that.
Yeah. So let's talk about your passion. So what are you most passionate about then? Is it music? That's where you're putting all your efforts?
I mostly do music because I'm very talented at it. Like I don't really strive to be like the best musician or like strive to be like the best rapper. Like I know I'm not, you know, I know I have plenty of room for growth. I know I am more consistent than other individuals, but as far as like what I'm passionate about, I like the idea of setting my family, like my current family and my future family up for success. Like I'm more passionate about that. I'm more passionate about like if my mom has an issue or if my sisters have an issue or my brother, and there's like most issues are, you know, based around compensation. You know, most issues are based around, you know, money, especially for them, you know, especially in situations where you are struggling, you know, financially. Like if I could go here, you know, I would. And like I wanted to just be like, shut the fuck up and go, you know. Shit, even when you said like I flew, like you were on the phone, like I flew my mom out here, like that inspires me. Like I'm like, holy fuck, like that, I want to be able to do that. You know, I want to be able to send my mom somewhere because she deserves it. You know, she worked her ass off to make sure that I'm good, and now I have to return the favor, in my opinion.
Facts.
Tenfold, if anything.
I think that's so important to just go 24/7 in your 20s because, you know, I think everybody will have the opportunity to give back to their parents in some way, shape, or form. But I think you're going to squander that opportunity because we start in this world helpless and we leave this world helpless because we're living to slowly die. You know what I mean? And that might sound, I don't know, gross or brutal or hard, but it is what it is. It's just reality. You know what I mean? So eventually you're going to be 90 years old, 100 years old, or I don't know, medicine might prolong it to 150 years old and you're incapable of wiping your own ass and getting out of bed and different things like that. And so you are going to be that individual, or you're going to put your parents in a care facility where somebody's taking care of them. But I want to give them the world now,
right?
Because of my mom. Give my mom the world now for the world she gave me or attempted to give me growing up. You know what I mean? Right. Kind of like my mom reminds me of Pursuit of Happiness. You know, she didn't have a financial degree or go out there and you know, get some type of stocks and bonds or securities position, but she worked 3 jobs and, you know, was never home, but did just enough to keep the lights on and keep food in our stomachs and different things like that. And some days we didn't eat. Some weekends we didn't eat. Right. Some days the lights were off, the water was off, different things like that. So it's like I for me, there's no other option. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'll sacrifice all of my 20s if it means while she's still coherent and competent and capable of enjoying and experiencing in her 50s. You know what I mean? I feel like I don't know how much longer I'd have. You know what I mean? So we grew up so rough. So it's like I don't know like how much longer health wise we got. So it's like if she's got another 10 or 15 years, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure she gets to spend $10 million each year. I really don't care.
Right. It's never really guaranteed.
Exactly. Not a day.
Especially
for her or me. It doesn't matter regarding the age.
Exactly. No.
Especially in Chicago.
Especially in Chicago. No, that's why I have like such a deep appreciation for my parents because so many, I could have went down the wrong path so many times.
Yeah.
And, they're from the same area as I am. They're my dad's from the South Side. My mom's from not too far away. And they had their struggles, and regardless of the struggles that they had, they made sure we still were good. They made sure we had clothes on our back. They made sure we had a Christmas. We had, and now growing up, I realized that those are like just, benefits for like most single mothers. But even still, like just the idea of going out of your way and like asking someone else for help to make sure that your kids are happy. Like that takes a lot,
Absolutely.
Especially when it comes to just being humble, like humbling yourself just to make sure that there's food on the table for your kids. And like, that's what drives me more than anything.
What inspired you to get into music?
Honestly, my dad.
Yeah.
My dad, my uncles, they were always rapping. Whenever like we came to our dad's house, I would be like, "Hey, Dad, play your stuff." I like hearing my dad's music. He's one of those like old heads. Kind of like, but it's cold though. Like it's a cold flow, and you could tell that he's smart. Like he has very smart bars. Like same with my uncles, and I was always around that. Like they were always freestyling, having ciphers and things like that. Also, just being in Chicago. Chicago's one of like the most influential, cities when it comes to music. Especially when not necessarily drill, but like you have like Chance the Rapper, you got Kanye, Lupe, you got, all these great, Mick Jenkins, you got all these great influences. So like for the most part, I started off doing poetry. Like I was in this program, actually I'm still a part of this program. It's called Kumba Links.
Yeah.
It's like an after school program powered through After School Matters. And One Summer Chicago. It's kind of like after school for like students in Chicago public schools who they would rather keep off the street, who are also facing adversity and also live in horrible situations or need to escape from home and like can't really go home because they're in toxic households. So it just gave them a place to just release creatively. So we did photography. I started off doing photography with my sister and stuff. So it only made sense to do photography there. But they had like poetry slams like all the time, and I don't know if you heard of it, but there's this poetry slam between like a bunch of schools, and then Kumba Links was also, and like some other organizations, they'll have poetry slams. I forgot the name of it. Louder Than a Bomb.
Is that a movie?
No, Louder Than a Bomb is like a competition.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like dance battles, but poetry.
And every school in the world does it or something?
No, so that's mostly here in Chicago.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Not every school did it either. Like they were just slam teams. It didn't even have to be a school. Slam teams will come together and they'll express, their stories through poetry.
Yeah.
And I grew up around a lot of those people, and they always had like they knew how to tell a story. So then I started to try to do poetry myself.
Yeah.
But then I realized that when I do poetry, like I was always rhyming. I rhymed a lot, like always, kind of like Dr. Seuss almost.
Yeah.
But after a while, I was like, why don't just throw on a fucking beat? And then after that, I just started rapping.
How old were you then?
I was like 15, 16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when did you release your first like album?
I don't even say I released the album yet, but like mixtape around like 16 or 17. Because I have me and my friends were actually in a rap group.
Yeah.
Titled Slut Mob.
Okay.
Don't mind the name, but we started off rapping. I was rapping with my friend Ryan, and he had like a studio, like a home studio, because his dad plays the saxophone, so he was always recording and stuff. So he started rapping first, and then we went to his house one time. It was me, him and like 4 other people, and like we made this horrible mixtape. You can't find it. I had them delete it. Horrible mixtape. But after a while, it was just me and Ryan. Like the other guys didn't come around anymore. It was just me and Ryan. I was going to his house all the time, and then like just developing my craft. And then I dropped my first solo one when I was like 17 or so. I didn't really consider it too good. I would say I started rapping at like 15, 16, but I started actually taking it seriously when I was like 19 or 20.
So who's your dad's top 2 or 3 favorite rappers?
That's a good question.
Or musicians?
I would say Nas for sure. He would always listen to Nas all the time. Bob Marley and Damian Marley. And Wu-Tang for sure. Busta Rhymes. Like I grew up around like listening to like a lot of like centric hip hop.
Yeah.
No. Lauryn Hill was definitely a household favorite. Erykah Badu, Sade, Cleo Soul. You know.
Who's your top 2 or 3 favorite musicians?
As of right now?
Yep.
Mick
But out of all time.
Out of all time.
Yeah, out of all time, including right now.
Out of all time. Including right now, out of all time, Mick Jenkins for sure. He's just real smart with his bars. You know,
yeah.
He has good wordplay. I really like Don Toliver. Just his groovy flow. He just has a nice flow.
Yeah.
As far as like going further back, Busta Rhymes is one of my favorite too. Missy Elliott.
Yep. Who was number 1?
Who's number 1 out of all of them?
Yeah.
Me. I'm just playing now. I
like the confidence.
I don't think I have a favorite.
You
like
like
a
Tupac?
I do like Tupac. I like Biggie more than Tupac, if I'm being honest with you.
No, you gotta get out there.
I'm just playing. No.
Man, Biggie was cold. Biggie was cold. It was all a dream. I think I play that more than I play Changes. You know what I mean? Like, anytime I feel like I leveled up and the moment just surreal. Like first time I made a meal, I was like, this shit is insane. You know what I mean? Like a surreal, coming from, you know, what I came from to where I'm at now, and surreal. You know what I mean? Biggie brings that surreal, whereas like Tupac, it's like a I don't know, it's like a consistent communication to the heart.
Yeah.
Biggie is like,
and the people.
Like to the people, to your heart. Biggie is like mind blowing. Like, man,
yeah. Tupac's like,
this shit was a dream.
Tupac's like, he's more of like the commercial, you know, like you'll hear more of his songs in movies and things like that. You'll hear more, like his songs are more so centric to like everyone could listen to it. You know, Biggie, in my opinion, is just raw. You know, it's just gritty. You know, he was straight to the point. You know, his wordplay was, both of them were fantastic artists, you know.
Fantastic.
R.I.P. to both of them for sure, but.
Crazy.
Just overall, like growing up in a gritty area and, you know, growing up around like such like, you know, that mentality, you know, I have to go Biggie just for that.
Are you on Spotify?
I am. Yeah. I'm on all platforms.
What is it, just Khair?
Yeah.
With the black and red background?
Mm-hmm.
That's a dope photography studio. Where'd you get that?
I got that done at Launchpad Studios. My boy Khair shot that KO. He shot that we did like one of those like stand-in mic like freestyle type deals. So I performed something for them.
Now, it might not be on here, but what's your favorite song you've ever created? Hopefully it's on here so we can hear it.
I'm pretty sure it's on there. The favorite, I got a few. On my most recent tape, I would say Neon Gummy. Neon Gummy's the last song on there.
That's your favorite so far that you've created out of everything?
Out of everything, I gotta think about my discography. Mia.
Is that on YouTube or Spotify?
It's on. There's a video on YouTube as well for Mia. I like Mia a lot, just because it was like one of the first times, not one of the first times, but like I actually sat there and tried to like make an actual song with a hook, and you know, a video with it, and It's probably one of my favorites.
What's the meaning behind it before I play it for a sec?
Well, for the most part, like in the hook, like I'm saying, like I really wish that you niggas had knew me better.
Yeah.
Kind of talk about like growing up in that, you know, trying to be myself, you know, but you know, people don't know me at all, so that's kind of how that one goes.
You care if we give it a listen?
Go ahead, man.
This shouldn't mess up our algorithm, right?
As long as it doesn't get like copyright.
Yeah, this isn't gonna get copyright.
I mean,
We got the copywriter right with us.
yeah, I'm here, so yeah.
I wonder when the hook. When's the hook hit?
It's right away.
I really wish that you niggas had knew me better, but you don't know me at all. Hop in my whip and I skirt off. You will not see me today or tomorrow. I cannot answer the phone. I'm sorry for missing your calls. We was busy being awesome. Shout out the homies alive in the lawsuits. Pray that you don't see the grave of the coffin. Pray for my niggas. Pray for my niggas that's going that way. Pray and protect is keeping them safe. I'm not religious, but I feel a hand on my face as it got me away from the danger. Might be my girls that don't feel like a stranger. She making sure that I'm winning my race. She making sure that I have my own lane from the face. And all of the
I gotta get you on. Sometimes it'd be cut me off.
poses, vlogging and posing on IG, cause niggas gon' live a product to sell. Don't have an image to sell, so they stuck in the motion of lying about shit that they got. Hoping this music won't flop, but they passing this shit. Depressing their head like a bitch. Me ain't tell him he way less than average. Damn, thought that your mans. If he was your homie, then why are you out on your ass? That same reason I don't really do friends. I don't like germs, I ain't tryna hold hands. Steady embarrassment. Steady embarrassment for the next nigga who can. Keep the comparison, please don't compare me to niggas who ain't touched the band. I'm well conditioned, I don't need a fan. I took the shroom, I'm good on his ends. Girl, bring a friend to make room for my man. She do a shimmy, she do a little dance. Shout out to her and them cheeks when I'm smashing. I'm Michael Phelps in the pussy, I swam. Not Kanye West, but I'm still going ham in this bitch. I really wish that you niggas had knew me better. But you don't know me at all.
Shit is good, bro.
Appreciate that, man. I think the second verse is like my favorite, like portion of the song for sure.
That hit yet?
No, it's about to hit right now.
Might as well run for office, nigga. Vote me for president. They voted for clowns. I keep the confetti, expressing in pounds. My shit double stacking. We'll 10 more rounds. You are not welcome around me. Please get the fuck out my space and the fuck off my couch. The fuck out my face and the fuck out my house or get hit in the mouth. And finally silence, and that's how I like it. Don't wanna be violent, so just move around me and everything's solid. You won't have to fight it. I'm running, you running. We both exercising. I really wanna tell y'all all the shit I did, but most of it's private. Been drinking way too much, I'm losing life. I see a bottle and I get excited. I really wish that you niggas had knew me better, but that ain't my only desire. I need a lot of shit, I need a yacht to travel to islands from all of the drama. We need a break from the shit, it's a lie. Fuck all the cops, I put that on my mama. I woke outside, felt the heat from the block. Ever since then I became an insider. I really wish that you niggas had knew me better. I always felt like an outsider. They like my music, but don't my flyer. They were designer, but why am I flyer? I really wish that these niggas had knew me better. I'm tripping now, why am I lying? I got the talent, so why would I stop? I really wish that you niggas had knew me better, but you don't know me at all. Hop in my whip and I skirt off. You will not see me today or tomorrow. I cannot answer the phone, I'm sorry for missing your calls. We was busy being awesome. Shout out the homies alive in the lawsuits. Pray that you don't see the grave of the coffins. Pray for my niggas. Pray for my niggas, nigga.
That's probably gotta be my favorite.
I wasn't gonna play the whole thing, and it was so good that I decided to play the whole thing. I was like,
I appreciate that, man.
You know, I think I guess not to discourage anybody that's in the music industry. It's like a lot of people are rappers. You know what I mean? So it's like you hear somebody's shit and you're like, you got a lot of work to do. You know what I mean? It's not that you suck right now. It's like, bro, you got a lot of work to do before you bring me something that I'm gonna tell you that I like. And this is good. You know what I mean? Because I got a lot of people.
Full-heartedly.
I got a lot of people. You know, with the podcast, I think that's a big niche where it's like a lot of people. You know what I mean? Going to the musical pursuit of things, and I think you can be great at anything if you don't give up. You know what I mean? But people don't take into consideration or take into breaking down the factor of the not give up. That's 3 words. But that could be 3 decades of commitment, patience, and intentionality with your craft. And so a lot of people might get discouraged with like, yo, you got to get better, not realizing it's not. Nobody said quit.
Right.
You know, we said get better. You know what I mean? It's like 5 years ago, I didn't know what the hell life insurance was.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like fast forward to today, it's like I own a life insurance company. So it's like 5 years from today, the life insurance company might be doing $100 million. You know, it might be doing $10 million. It might be doing $100 billion. Who knows? But as long as we don't give up, sky's the limit. You know what I mean? Shout out Biggie.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I want to ask, what helped you decide to get into life insurance?
oh my man, this was God's divine appointment. This was not my idea. I was expelled my sophomore year, so I was 2 years just working, doing a little bit of illegal street things, and I didn't have anything going for me. I was going to enlist into the military, but I was uploading my high school diploma that I received from my mother because she finished my high school online for me. I paid her to do my school because I was done with school. I really stopped school after 8th grade. But essentially I paid her to do my online school, give me the diploma. I uploaded that diploma on Indeed and job sites because that was my last throw before I was like, I'm going to just go into the Air Force and pursue becoming a pilot, like my favorite movie, Top Gun, one of my favorite movies.
Shout out Tom Cruise.
Shout out Tom Cruise. And I got an automated email from an Arias Agencies. I looked up Arias Agencies. The CEO was Simon Arias. I looked him up just to vet credibility because I was like, I have no credibility or anything to my name that would, make me deserve a position, like a legitimate position. And it was a life insurance company an hour away. I didn't know what life insurance was. But I saw this dude standing on the Pittsburgh Bridge, Yellow Bridges in Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. And I was like, all right, at least I know it's a real company and he's a real person. Went in, checked it out. Come to find out the only prerequisites into getting in the life insurance industry is a life insurance license. Mm. Called my mom. I think she called my grandma. We put together some money to get my life insurance license. It was like $150, but we was broke. I was talking about we grew up in my junior year, my house got shot up. So I was like, we grew up, bro.
Yeah, no, that's hard to front.
Yeah,
150.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what I mean. Now it's like I don't think about that, but it's like then that was $1 million. So we came up with it. I got my license the next day. I stayed up all night, studied my course, went through it's an online course that takes 14 days to get through. I got it done in 17 hours and passed my state exam the next day. Oh, damn. Mind you, I'm like you. I'm not a genius, but my intellectual abilities did not reflect my grades because I did not give a fuck. Right. You know what I mean? Exactly. I just wanted to flirt and be a class clown. So that was that. You know what I mean? And my first year I made $114,000 and I never looked back. And I just sold insurance. I didn't know recruiting. There was no team building. There was no franchise ownership or anything. I didn't know Simon Arias. So that was the insurance industry for me in a nutshell. Just divine appointment. I've always been off and on really pursuing God, like when I was a young man, and I think he just held on when I wasn't holding on, and I was in a stage of extreme prayer, I was just praying every night because I was so broken. You know what I mean? I was probably in a depression. You know what I mean? Now that I look back at it, just a darkness of man, I ain't ever gonna amount to nothing. I'm never gonna get out of this hole.
Just confusion.
You know what I mean? I feel and we get played with it in our generation because there's just these disconnects in society because our parents and their parents just assumed that because they were 18 and 22 in between that age range and they could live on their own. My mom's 55. She told me her rent was $300. Right. Her car payment was $98 a month when she was in college.
It's not the same.
I was like, and she was like, but we got paid way less. I was like, what'd you make? She was like $9 an hour. I was like, do you realize that's $2.25 over minimum wage until they just raised it this past year? Right. You know what I mean? In some states the minimum wage is still $7.25. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like the income isn't corresponding with the expense. So we're telling these kids, and I consider us kids still, you know what I mean? We're 20 years old. You know what I mean? We're telling these individuals that are 18 in between 28, 30 years old that if they don't have a $500,000 house or a house and a car and all their expenses paid off, that they're failures. Right. No wonder everybody's, you know what I mean, wants to hurt themselves or feels inadequate or not fulfilled. It's because the people we look up to the most that we love and aspire to be like are telling us, we're not complete because we're still in the house. Or it's like, you cannot, Chicago, you got to make 100 bands if you're going to get out the house. Right. And not you ain't going to be living a Playboy life making 100 bands in Chicago. You're going to be all right. You're going to be all right.
Yeah, you're going to be straight.
Yeah, you straight. You know what I mean? A mill is you're going to be living some lavish in Chicago. But who would have ever thought 20, 30 years ago saying you got to, when I grew up, I dreamed of making $100,000. I was like, I ever made $100,000? Like you were talking about in regard to like how like an individual like, you know, perspective on poverty of like, I'm gonna get this. I used to think about making $100,000. Like, yo, by the time I'm 40, I'm gonna make $100,000. I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna take care of my mom. And
By
I'm
the
like,
time I'm 40.
yeah, I just wanted to be like,
Yeah.
I just wanted out. I just went out of the fucking hole. And I think perspectives, they change, and you realize like in today's day and age, with inflation and with just the disproportions to society, to expectations and different things like that. It's like, one, we create our own mental health issues by the false expectations we put on our kids and one another. And then everybody's on Instagram with rented Lamborghinis and shit like that.
I was just about to say that. It's like, that's like
Instapreneurs.
a facade when it like that expectation of like,
yes,
you need to be doing this or you need to be doing that. And then they took away like the trades that would make people that successful at that young age when they were younger.
Showing the pain. Like
exactly.
I live at my
now,
office.
Now everyone wants to be scammers and everyone wants to do, everyone wants to rap or everyone wants to, you know, do all these great things. And then when they don't make it, they have to switch to that life of what they see is the way out, which is like either a life of crime or just sitting there and letting life beat your ass.
Yes.
You know,
it's a cycle. You know, history repeats itself. And the individuals that think it doesn't are just foolish. They're just uneducated. And you just kind of feel bad for them for thinking that way. It's like, it is what it is. The only thing we can do differently is, one, what do you have control over? You have control over yourself. Secondly, the individuals you come into contact with, you can have a positive impact or you can have a negative impact. But it reverts back to the first and only thing you have control over. That's yourself.
Right.
You'll always have control over you. And I think when people start to realize that everything that's wrong in this world really can point back to the internalization of what issues are going on in here and here that you're not facing or you're not letting go. It's much easier for a man or for a woman to let go of untethered emotions than to hold on to these emotions that will wildly lead you down paths of chaos, and even extreme joy and extreme highs will lead you down paths of chaos and have you asking what's wrong with the world. What's wrong is you have no control over yourself. Right. The only thing you need to change the world is by internally changing your world. The external world is a reflection of our internal worlds. And when there's unity in that, then you have success, you have businesses that are able to scale, you have individuals that are poised, stoic, and calm and hold themselves together and are able to have a positive impact. And people call them outcasts or call them weird because people fear what they don't understand. Right, so that's the whole black community.
Right.
And nobody understands black skin. You know what I mean, or why are we, you know, maybe a little more naturally to be athletic? Well, maybe because our bodies had to adapt because you enslaved us for 400 years.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's not just us. There's other races out there that have been enslaved and have adaptations and different things like that where they might be a little more inclined to, you know, do something, whatever it might be. You know what I mean? So it's like, people fear what they don't understand, though, and then you strip it down and bring it to a new area. No wonder you're afraid. You know what I mean? Where are the Native Americans? We didn't understand them, so they're dead.
It's the same with like, no, absolutely. It's the same with like shit, even medicine.
Right.
You know, just being healthy like that. Like, there's so many black people who I run into are just scared to go to the hospital or just like terrified to, you know, get a vaccine or like, you know.
Yep.
Do something that would be beneficial not only for them but for the people after them.
Yes.
You know,
especially proactive, because with the black community, like I do lab work every quarter, and I always talk to my mom about it, and you know she's the white one, but still giving me insight from being in that community and being in the medical field, and more so of just like there's not like they don't educate everything you need to know in the world. Pretty much just in our scholastic system does not get taught to you. It's like, I don't use the fucking parabola. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it correctly now. E equals MC squared has never helped me.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, nobody ever told me to set up a credit card. I had to wait.
Taxes, none of that.
I made $100,000 and I could only get approved to buy a Honda Civic out of high school. You know what I mean? So I had $30,000 in the bank. You know what I mean? At 18 years old, 19 years old, and I was like, I could only get approved to buy, and nobody told me to set up a credit card.
Right.
When you could set up a credit card, I believe at 11 or 12 years old. You know, so you could graduate high school and then be in the same position that I was in, and get financed for a Mercedes or something like way nicer, and it's what you can get approved for is a $400,000 student loan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like,
Absolutely.
we get approved if it benefits the right person.
Right.
And so it is what it is. It's exciting that we're able to educate ourselves and educate the few individuals that will listen to us. And so that's what makes me hopeful for the future, is because changing the world just starts with changing one world at a time. That's what I always tell myself. Is, we can just help somebody, then it was a life worth living. You know what I mean? If I helped one person, then I changed one world. You know what I mean? There's 8 billion people, 9 billion people on this earth. I don't plan on being able to change, every person's life. God willing, I could. You know what I mean? But that would be with God and through God alone. But on my own, still utilizing God and the faith that I have, if his will is for me to just impact one life, I pray I just impact one life.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's fulfillment for me in and of itself. Well, as we wrap up, because I got another appointment.
That's fine.
Anything else on the top of your mind you want to share before I have you plug in anything you want to plug in?
Honestly, thank you so much for having me. Not just on the podcast, just this conversation was necessary. Definitely, especially when it comes to like, young black men, a lot of us are, we feel alone, or we feel like we can't really express to each
Especially
other.
Especially us young black mutts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just mixed up. You're light skin. I mean, you dark light skin to me, but
I've just been in the sun.
Yes.
And we're the same color.
Yes. Yeah. But I definitely know that outcast feeling of like, yeah, you ain't really black. You know what I mean? And feeling insecure about it, like, yeah, I ain't real black. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Right.
So
Like,
I gotta show people pictures of my dad. I'm like,
exactly.
But this is my dad for real. This really is him.
Or like that, like my dad would come to like report card pickups or something. He'll be like, that's your dad? I'm like, yeah, I told you I'm black.
Yeah.
Like I don't have to. But honestly, like just, we're in our heads a lot.
Yeah.
And sometimes that is like, it's good to think to yourself, and it's good to, analyze on your own, but after a while it just becomes overthinking, and after a while it just becomes like really detrimental to who you can be as not just who you are, but who you can be as an individual. So I really appreciate you saying those things, because that's a lot of the shit that has been on my mind.
Yeah.
Like I was about to say something, and then you just went ahead and said it. Like I was like, you see, this is why this is necessary.
Absolutely.
Just back and forth.
Absolutely.
So I do appreciate you having me on your platform.
I appreciate you, bro. And your music's fire. You got a great heart. You got a great vibe. I can already feel in your energy. And I'm excited to make a documentary with you over the years. All of these podcasts are intentional, because I want to invite people back over the next 10 years and meet up once or twice a year and get on the podcast and update everybody. Mm-hmm. And then 10, 15 years from now, you'll have a documentary. You'll have 10 hours of film that we'll be able to compile. And this is a very long-term vision, but this will be something you can show your kids.
Absolutely.
Of like, here's my life. You know what I mean? Like, here was me at 23 all the way up to 33. My vision's so long, we could take this thing to 43. You know what I mean? So it's like 20 years from now, it's like being able to show something like, I wish I had a blueprint from somebody, you know what I mean? Of like, yo, here's my life, here's what I learned, here's what I did well, here's what I didn't do well. And being able to show that to your kids, and they can just watch it, press record or press replay and watch it and show their kids, and be able to transfer that legacy through just this visual learning. Visual learning is the best learning. It's the only learning.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says. Everybody's a visual learner.
Yeah, no, I tell people that all the time. Because like, not only do I do like fundraising and things, it's actually a management training program. So that's like a lot of things, like when you talk about only thing you can control is yourself. Like that's something we pride ourselves on every day, because we face shit tons of rejection all the time. Like 98% of the world is just a no. You know, so like that is just very important, not only to myself, but also the people around me. So it's really good that you said that. So I appreciate that as well.
Appreciate you.
Absolutely.
It's just Khair on Instagram.
It is.
It's period, just period, Khair. Anything else you want to plug in? He's on Spotify. He's on YouTube.
I'm on Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud, Apple Music, TikTok. I'm on it all.
Any new music we can look forward to?
I am currently working on something.
Dope.
As far as like ready to drop, it's not ready to drop yet. I think I want like 1 or 2 more songs onto it, so I have to go to the studio for that, of course. But definitely got some things in the works. I'm trying to get a few more videos cranked out. Dropped the video not too long ago for another song, which, check it out.
Let's go.
Pretty solid. Other than that, no, not really. Got a show on December 1st, so, well, performance, I want to say a show. I'm just performing at one of my friends' parties, but it is what it is.
Perfect. Dope. All right. Well, we appreciate you, And we look forward to having you back on.
Absolutely.
Peace out, y'all.